Hello everyone, today I wanted to go over how to introduce players to your puzzles or mechanics. So what I've done is I've set up a little area to show the mechanics that I'm going to be using for this. First one, each one of these has actually been done in a video as well, other than the traversable cube, which comes from the game animation sample pack on Fab. So this little button, it's red. I need a way to get over there, so I need to hit E on it, it turns it green, and it presses down. So now it activates this little platform that moves. So now I can get across here, or run over, or jump. I got this cube, I can jump over it. Then I have to hit E on this. It shows that it's locked by playing a noise. Then there's a key right here. It's a little hard to see, but I press E on it. I come over here, door unlocks, and I can go through. Now I got this cube right here. I can climb up here. So those are a couple of mechanics that we've established for this project. So the reason that these are all important is when you're introducing these mechanics, you need to know that they work, you need to know how they work, and what they can be used for. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to introduce players to these mechanics. So I'm going to build a little area real quick. So this is going to be our little area. It's not super big, but it should be plenty. So how I'm going to do this is I'm going to set up a little small area for the player to start in. So with this little room, now we have somewhere for the player to start in. We need to use this first room to kind of introduce some mechanics. So what we're going to do is something simple. We'll create a little obstacle that they have to climb over, which could be as simple as having a table here, and we're going to set up a little hallway that the player has to go through. So with this, I can set it up as maybe there was something that was brought through here and put in the way, or there's a desk that is here currently. So now we've got a cube here, and what this will do is the player's got nowhere to go, so they've got a set path. Now they've got a little obstacle that they have to go across. So now they need to figure out how to do that, and so you've introduced them to your baseline mechanic, and you can even make it small enough for them to just jump over. So you've introduced them to the jump mechanic. So what about the more advanced mechanics like doors? So if we come over here, we can introduce doors right here. So if we've got a locked door, we've obviously got an unlocked door. So we'll drop in the unlocked door. And what this will do is we'll use this door to introduce the player that doors are a thing that they can go through in the game. So of course maybe you've got a little bit more traversal going on, but this little setup allows the player to kind of learn these mechanics. So you go over and you hit E on it. Maybe you have a little HUD thing that says press E. Now you've introduced the player to two of the mechanics right away. Specific, we could take that door, duplicate it, and slide it over into here. So that way they're introduced to the door right away. There's nothing else to do, so obviously the door is the only way to go. We press E on it and it lets us through. So now they've learned about those two mechanics in the game. Then we go into maybe a bit of gameplay. So what if we've got a two-story room and they come across a door that is locked? So now we've created a little balcony for them to, let's make it 3. And what we can do is we can set up a little door here, a little door here. So what we can do is we can come through here, and this will be a pretty simple puzzle because they've already climbed up on the desk to get over. So now we're going to teach them to use that in order to get forward. So when the player comes in here, they see that area above them. And we can even play around using lights in order to kind of guide their eyes to it. So now the room is alright lit up, but we've got an emphasis over here. So when the player comes in, they see up there, and that's our new door that's going to be the locked door. There we go. So now the door is locked unless we have the key in our inventory. So if we do a door over here that is unlocked, and the door right there that is locked, we can introduce multiple mechanics using this. So if we go over here, this door, so what we're going to do is we're going to know that we can go through this door. So we need to set up a little area on the opposite side of it. And that's where we're going to put our key, and that's going to introduce the player to keys. And so what we're going to do is we're going to build a small hallway, and what we'll do is we'll tell the player that certain doors are important and certain doors are not. This is how we're going to do that. And we're going to put a door and a frame there. So there we go. Now the player can see all this. Of course, we put a little hole behind it. Maybe put it black back there. We're going to take these doors and we're going to put them along so the player feels like they're in an actual area. The atmosphere feels done. But we're not going to play any noise or anything for these doors. So if the player tries to interact, nothing happens, and it teaches them, okay, so some doors are accessible, some are not. And that's something you definitely do want to teach your player. Because if you have multiple doors and they don't know that only some of them go somewhere, they're going to try every door. So from here, we're going to build a small room. And this is where you could introduce a little bit of lore, or you can just have it be a little office for that key. But yeah, this is going to teach the player about locks and keys. So that way they know, okay, so if I come across here and I hear this noise, I know, okay, I need to go find the key. And we're also teaching them, okay, not every door is accessible. So if we go back to desk, we place that desk in here, we turn it around. We could set a little chair there and everything, but just because I'm only trying to show off the how to do this, I'm not trying to build a set area. So let's go with the key. We'll get the code. There we go. So now we've got dark areas and our key is lit up by its programmed code. So there we go. So now we have a little area where you can find the key and everything. And this room will be accessible right away. So now we've got areas where they get taught different aspects of the game. And because we had it set up to where they had to climb earlier, they already know, okay, so maybe I can climb to get up there. And you could replace this with any meshes you want. Maybe you've got a weird vent system you're using, or maybe there's a shelf that's being used for everything. It's however you want to build that level setup. And then, of course, we just slide this one over. And then to really show them that they can climb up there, some people might not notice that those are like that. So we can easily set a thing right here to there. Right there, duplicate it, turn it sideways, and there. So we're kind of holding their hand at the beginning of the game. And that's kind of expected because they don't know the mechanics and they don't know your world very well. So you're teaching them to play the game. And you could even make this look less accessible so that way they run over here. So now that we've done this, let's go ahead and run through the level so far. So the player spawns inside of our start area and they've got nowhere to go but the little door right here. So they open the door and it shows them this little area that's blocked off, so they have to get across somehow, so they teach themselves to jump. Alright, so you press E on the next door because you already know you can go through. You run through, these boxes are in the way, and then you see the area up there. No way to go through down here, so they come across and they see this. Now you've taught the player already that they can go up stuff, and now they learn, okay, so now they can go up higher. Cool, so now I've gotten over here. Then they run over to the area that's lit up. They hit E. It's like, oh, okay, so it's locked. What do I do? Well, there's this door that I saw over here. All right. Open up this door. You run through here. All these doors just look bland. There's nothing to try on them. Okay. You open up the final door, and then your key is lit up. It's like, oh, what's this? You now have the key, so you run back like, oh, well, that door made a noise. The others didn't. Let's try this one. And it unlocks the door. So now you've introduced them to multiple mechanics. There we go. So now we've just got to introduce the other mechanics. So here's where we can have a bit of fun, especially if you're in like a sci-fi game or in a temple. Here's where we're going to introduce the little platform that moves. So I'm going to use the same style I did for the puzzle video. So what we're going to do is we want to introduce the player to the moving platform. So what we need to do is give them a little puzzle that teaches them, okay, you can move platforms. Of course, you don't have to do it this simple, but giving them something extremely simple right off the bat that teaches them the mechanic of it, or even having an AI who like calls out to them and then hits a button and it shows that command. that will also teach them how to do it. So they come through all that and they come in here. It's like, oh, okay, what's this? Oh, okay. Little platform that moves. That's how we're going to do it. And honestly, a great way we could do it is to already have this thing active when they come through. So that way, when they come across to activate it, it's already moving. This is green, and the platform is already going. So what we're going to do is we're going to create one that's always going at all times. We're going to duplicate. I'm going to go into it. I'm going to name it something different. I'm going to rename it to moving platform active. And then I go into the active one, and instead of having it set to this, I can do begin play and just connect it. So there we go. So with that, I can go to the button puzzle, duplicate it, button puzzle active. I can double click into it, and I can set this to green already. And for this, so we don't get the error, I'm going to go to my event graph and not disconnect that. I need that. I do that, and I'm disconnecting the set thing. So all of the programming is already set to activate and be working. So I can right click, replace it with the moving active, right click, I click here, right click, replace with active. So when the player comes in here, all right, so it just crashed, so I can't continue with that level, but I think you've got the idea of what I was going for. So with that light that's constantly going and showing off the code is always active. So here, we're going to go ahead and kind of create a little laboratory. So this is the little lab room you would start in. There. So now I've got a little area for it to work around with. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One little area for that platform to be required. So here we are. Here's the little required platform. And we've got the puzzle button active right here in place. So that way you see that this has already been set up and used. So it's green now. So that teaches the player that, okay, so the thing is in use. All right, so they start in here. And the first things they see is they come through this door and they see this moving platform. It's kind of hard not to notice something that's moving. So what this has done is we have instinctively taught them that, okay, so this green button means that this platform is active. And that'll teach the player, okay, so now we've got this little thing that is moving and we can get across because of it. It's like, okay. You run over and you hit jump, you make it across. And there you go. So now you've got your first little puzzle for that that's showing them, okay, so we've introduced it without them having to activate it. Which, once they see it the next time, they'll know, okay, I have to activate this. So right here, boom. And then we come across over here. We're going to have a little area that rises up. Add a little verticality to the level to where it kind of makes the player more interested. We can even make it to where the player can see up here from down there. And if we want to play around with the mechanics we've already introduced them to, we can even set a little spot right here for them to climb on top of to be able to get up there. So just to let them have fun and play around with the mechanics we have already introduced them to as well. So now they've got an area to go up here, right there, and it comes across to this new room. So this new room will have a gap that's just too wide for the player to jump across. So that way you could teach them that if they fall, they get hurt. And of course you'll want a way to let them through. And if you want to have a place puzzle where they find stuff, this is where you could teach them once they fall and they have to find their way back up, that you can have a double path there. So the one way just goes straight up, the other way leads them into finding one of the pieces they need to be able to activate the puzzle. That's actually part of our other video teaching about puzzles. So here we go. Now we've got this little area here. What we could do is shrink this down right there and kind of create this little slit right here. And what we've done is we created an area for this little platform to fit. And we know it goes forward, so we can turn it like that. And so we want it to fit. We can make it go across. And there we go. So now it should slide directly into place. Let's make sure the player can't jump across right away. They cannot. So we can if we make the perfect jump. So let's go ahead and fix that, because we don't want them to be able to do that. There we go. So now we can guarantee that they can't make it across. So make it at least a 3 wide right here, because that will fit the player very well. And now, because you've taught them that the button needs to be green for it to move, you can place the button right here and turn it sideways. And there we go. Now the button is turned off. So now when the player gets here, they're introduced earlier that they come through and the button is activated. Then that's what's the moving platform. They come through here. They move up our little area. And now they've got a red one, which red will indicate that the button is off. So there we go. So now we've created a little puzzle in here for them to solve. So there's that. Now, using all that information, and what we could do here is where we can actually become a bit more advanced with our puzzles. So now let's go ahead and actually really make this one a bit more advanced, because the player has learned the mechanics. It's time to stop babying them. Let's make them actually have to use them with a bit of extra thought going on. So with this area right here, we want the player to get across a little spot over here. And now they're going to use the knowledge that they have learned. We're going to make it pretty simple, because if it's our first puzzle that we're teaching them, we're making them use the mechanics that they've learned, we want them to have a simple thing that teaches them and encourages them with what they've learned. Because if we overdo it right off the bat, they may not understand that the mechanics are all that we've done. So what we do is we give them something simple to solve. It makes them feel good, and it gives them that information that they need. So with this all set up, we can go up here. We can select this, select over there, and we're going to start tying in our mechanics. And because we did the thing earlier where we're letting them play with the mechanics, we're teaching them that this is used quite often in the game. I can actually hide over here unless you want collectibles in your game. That'd be a perfect area to add collectibles. But, so I'm a brand new player. I've never played your game before at all. So I want to be able to get across here. I come over, I see a door here. And then I come in here and I see this area. There's a moving platform and there's a green light. The green light is emissive, so it's going to bring my attention over there. And if I really wanted to be more smart about it, the door is over here. So let's go ahead and slide this over so they can't miss it. So they come in through here and they see this green light right next to the platform that's moving. So it's like, okay, that's meaning that the platform can be moved. So, all right. So now I come over here. It's like, oh, maybe I can play with this. Nice, because I've already learned the other mechanics. Then it's like, haha, fun. Like, oh, I can't get across there. Oh, this one's red. Oh, looks like I didn't need to turn it. And get close enough. There it goes. So now the platform starts moving. It's like, okay, so I see what's going on here. I made it across. It's like, all right. So then I come over here. It's like, yeah. Oh, all right. If it's not here, I see the little platform, but so I need to figure it out. And they turn around, there's that glass there. It's like, oh, maybe I can get up there somehow. Okay, come over here. hit E on the button, and because I didn't turn this one to match it, of course, it didn't turn properly. So yeah, I mean, I could even make fun with that and use it this way instead. So that way, when they look across, they're guaranteed to see it. And for this one, since I wouldn't want it to keep moving, I could go into it. I could go into the timeline, turn off looping, and get rid of the second one, and compile. So now, when I come over here and I hit play, and I climb up here, and then I hit E, it opens, and there we go. Now we've got our own platform to come across. So we're introducing them to all these mechanics, and then we're giving them a slight easy puzzle to do. So we want to teach them all those mechanics and then let them through. That is how you introduce people to the puzzles in your game, as well as the mechanics of the game. I know some of this stuff seems super simplified, but if you play a lot of games that don't have tutorials, but they walk you through the game in order for you to know how to do it. So you can use all of this stuff to teach the player without sitting them down for a hardcore tutorial. And the player may have played this for a few minutes and they're already having a bit of fun because they've got to learn a few mechanics. There's areas for you to be able to set up dialogue and some lore going in and much more. If you have like crouching, you can add the little area that they could crawl through for the crouching. Like I said, over here could be a little room that has lore inside of it. Maybe you've got stuff laying about for them to find and look at and read. Maybe there's a little audio log in there. There's plenty of stuff for you to do in order to teach them that. As well as when they come across stuff that they can climb, you could hit spacebar to climb and stuff. Or there's something I want to talk about that I forgot to talk about earlier in the video. For this traversable stuff, a very simple thing that you will see in games like Uncharted and a lot of other games that allow you to climb stuff is I could do something like this. If I create a material, decal climbable, I can go in and I can go into here. And what I can do is I can hold 3, click to make it constant vector 3. So if I right click, constant 3 vector, I can drag this over to the base color. And I want this to change into a decal and make this translucent. So here we go. Now we've got this, and I'm going to change this to a very specific type of orange color. There we go. So with apply, now what I can do is if I want to teach the player, I can forever add this little orange to the corners of it. And what you'll notice is if you look at games like, I believe it's Uncharted, that when you have something that you can climb, it's almost unanimously always orange. And this is done in a lot of different games in order for players to know, okay, so that's a traversable item without them ever thinking about it, because every single time they've seen that exact color, it's been a traversable item. So this is just a simple way of telling the player that this is part of the mechanics for you to be able to play with. So when they've done all that, even in the Silent Hill game that I was playing, in the Silent Hill 2, there's the cloth that sits on top of the traversable items. That simple little detail may seem like something that may not be necessary, but it really does help the player get in tune with the mechanics of your game. And it's a great teaching experience without them having to go through a heavy tutorial. So now every single time I see a traversable item that I can climb up, it has that yellow on there. So when I come across an item that doesn't have that or isn't that color, I see it and I'm just like, oh, okay. And even on little climbable objects, you could put a tiny yellow line along them. These are all really nice ways for you to be able to teach the player and introduce them to your game's mechanics. If you're playing a shooting game and you want to introduce cover, have something fall over in front of the player. Maybe enemies bust in and knock the door down or fly it open. Something gets knocked over and lands in front of the player, and then will instinctively teach them, okay, I need to crouch and hide behind that. A lot of players who have been playing for a while will instantly do that. If you have AIs with them, have them take the initiative and quickly dive in and take that cover. So that way the player is able to learn from the AI doing it as well. So yeah, I hope you all found this very interesting. I hope you all learned something. I really enjoyed making it. These mechanics, like I said, are in other videos that I've done. Feel free to go look at them. The button is in the puzzle video, as well as the platform is. The traversables from Game Animation Sample Pack on Fab. But yeah, I really hope you all enjoyed the video, and I hope you learned something, as well as I really hope you all have a good night. I want to give another thank you to our patrons, and that is Rory and Blaine Hodge. Thank you both so much for donating to the channel. It's helping to keep making these videos go. And yeah, I just wanted to give a thank you to you guys. Everyone have a good night.